Yes, watch and see for yourself and tell the story all by yourself
Okay,
as well.
and at the end, they left without rescuing the people that were kidnapped by Boko Haram. This is because they sense collusion that Nigeria government is colluding with the terrorists because the information, what they plan with the Nigerian military leads to the terrorists. So that was how they understood that this is government something and they left. So recently, you must have heard that this Trump withdrew the military personnel. I mean, the U.S. military he sent to Nigeria before. And I was listening to Dr. Ezekiel Dachomo. He made a statement that I never thought of. Because when the U.S. announced that they are withdrawing troops out of Nigeria, they just said that they collaborated with Nigeria to kill ISIS in Nigeria. And after that, boom, no further statements. Now, Dr. Ezekiel Dachomo is saying something that the reason why U.S. removed their troops from Nigeria is because the U.S. troop is in danger in Nigeria because they sense that Nigerian military personnel are working together with the terrorists. Anyway, I am not surprised if that is just the exact reason because I understand the principles of infiltration. I always tell you about how America left Afghanistan. What made them to leave Afghanistan? It was just because of principles of infiltration. You will be working with a soldier, Afghanistan soldier or Nigerian soldier. You don't know that you are working with the terrorists that you want to kill. You understand? So when Dr. Ezekiel Dachomo made this statement, I said, it could be true. And this was what he said.
It is now God has used him. We are going to form militias. God used him to neck us forcefully so that he'll provoke us to start raising militias that would defend the old people, that would defend children. Because we are loose, we trust in the security, and there is no security. Let me tell you, do you know why America left? Listen, they have studied. The American soldiers' life is in danger because Boko Haram and ISWAP have taken place, strategic position in Nigeria army, in the security. They have seen how many generals have been killed by insurgents through informers, the fifth columnists. They will not endanger their life. They are afraid to work with our security. They are afraid because their life is in danger. They will lose soldiers in Nigeria as we are losing soldiers right now in Nigeria. So our life is in danger. Everybody go for self-defense. Defend yourself to death, but never kill them. But if they come, don't allow them to escape. Our weapon is in the hands of the Fulani terrorists. They are bringing their weapon to us. Let us prepare our ways with God, and God will forgive us. Those that did this, we are forgiving them. Munga Fartamusu. Munga Fartama, director of NIPS. Ayo, the DG of NIPS, for blackmailing us. We have never gone to Ruga, but they used to come to our place and look at these people. They were shot at the door of their house. Inside here, not outside, not the bush. They follow us. Once it's dark, they creep in. They hide at our door. with their AK-47. The first person that will come out, they will shoot. If they find you outside, they shoot. At the end, they will say, unknown gunman. No problem. Time of vengeance is coming. The day shall come. God will take vengeance for us. Some people are abusing me on Facebook. Continue praying. Go out and fight. How can we go out and fight when we know the security is not on our side? The security are, some of them, only few that are good. And those that are good, they are afraid. We don't know where to run to. The government is saying there is no genocide, while we are saying there is genocide. While they have report of frequent killing in Plateau State, all they want a state of emergency to be declared in Plateau State. We continue to love the Hausa people, the Fulani people. We continue to pray for them. If they are hungry, we'll feed them. That is what Jesus taught us. If they are suffering, we'll give them shelter. That is what Jesus says. We are not Islamic, where there is no forgiveness. Even the prophet is asking. They are asking him, how are we going to be saved? He said, even I myself, I don't know where they will keep me. So in Islam, there's no forgiveness. But in Christianity, we have forgiveness through Jesus that shed his blood on the cross to redeem us from the power of darkness. That is where we are more far better. Gaskiya ku ji tausayin musulmi fa, ba su da gafara. Har kabari, domin sun ki kalmatullah, sun ki ruhullah. Allah yana more kalman safa, ya ce ma malam Audu na gafarta maka. Bisa ga Qur'ani, Isa kalmatullah, ba yadda za ka samu gafara sai ta wajen kalman Allah madaukaki. So ku ji tausayin su, gwamma mun samu gafara. Da satan da dana dinga yi na samu gafara. Allah ya more kalmansa ya ce zikir Dachomo na gafarta maka. Amma yawan musulmi ba su da gafara, Fulani ba su da gafara, wanda suke sallah sai da waɗanda sun tuba, sun karba Yesu, sai Allah ya karbe ya more kalmansa ya ce na yi maka gafara. So mu yi addu'a domin su mama su zo su samu ceton. Domin musulmin da ya ci karo da Yesu ba shi da tunanin kashe wani. So mu yi addu'a Allah ya taimake mu duka. Bari mu yi addu'a ko?
There was evidence because people insurgents who were killed, their telephones were probed, and they were in contact with security officers while they were operating. That is to show we have accomplices within the security forces. And that is why when people are being attacked, some instruction will come from above, whoever it would be, to ensure that these people receive the worst kind of treatment before the security forces would come. The people who are sponsoring insurgency in Nigeria didn't just wake up and then became insurgents or started to sponsor insurgency. It started and grew till when we got Sharia into our constitution. According to Sharia, Muslims will have to be the lords. You will have to submit. I will have to submit. Muslims who don't believe in that violence have to submit. There are rules. So since Sharia came in, insurgency in real time came in because they have the right under Sharia to convert the unbeliever.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. Pardon me. The aspect of Sharia, the Constitution allows, if correct me if I'm wrong, it is in the cases of inheritance, marriage, marital issues, disputes.
Those were the penal court thing which Sardauna had.
Yes.
The Sharia today.
Yes.
Why was Leah Sharibu taken out of so many girls?
That was not a big
Hold on. Why was the lady in Sokoto stoned to death? It's Sharia. So there are so many things that have happened which we can refer to, which are Sharia compliant issues. Many things have happened. Why do we have a parallel policing in Kano? It is because of Sharia. So, if you are in Kano, even if you are an Igbo man or whoever, and you want to trade your beer, you go and smash it. If you are lucky to go away alive. That is Sharia. So, sir, anybody who deceives you and said the penal code which we had, which the Sardauna accepted as a means of accommodating the Middle Belters then because of the Willings Commission requirement, is not what we have today. What we have today, adopted by the 12 local government, states in the north, is the true Sharia. And where they want and when they want to implement, they implement. Even states that are not as aggressive. Not long ago, was it about 2 years ago, my governor in Borno went to and said any hotel that they think was a brochure, quote unquote, how do you qualify a place? They smashed it and destroyed such plots. Churches are not allowed spaces in some areas. So what is that? Yes. So what is that? It is Sharia. So you see, we pretend. That is the problem with this concept. We pretend to be running a secular system in the north. It is no more that way. And this insurgency would not be there without Sharia. When we had the penal code, there was no such insurgency. There was no such aggression. There would not be somebody coming with a gun and say, Allahu Akbar, and attack others. It wasn't there. Under the penal code, it wasn't there. Under Sharia, it's there. And we cannot deny that. It is for the others to wake up and say, look, if you want to practice this, you have the right based on your religion, but you can't impose it on us. Let's think of a way of coexisting with this. And what is happening, or what is going to happen next. These people will say, let's part ways.
When you made mention to a couple of people who were, lynched, lynched, set on fire, and said it was because of Sharia, I was trying to disagree because I know the Sharia process will be, you take the person to face a Sharia panel, and then there will be witnesses called, just more or less like a regular trial court and all of that, but that was not the case. That's what I was trying to correct. It was just mob justice. Yes, maybe influenced by radical clerics. So don't respond to that, but let's go back to this insecurity. I've had northern leaders. Dr. Akibaba is a highly respected northern leader, a Muslim, highly respected, intellectual. He attributes the insecurity from the north, largely, preponderantly, and I tend to agree with him, to misgovernance, bad governance, from governors, local governments, and all, even the presidents. Do you disagree with this?
Yes, people in power directs and determines what their people do. So in that regard, you can't disagree with him.
Do you disagree?
No, I said you and I too can disagree with him. Because if those things that initiated the Boko Haram insurgency didn't start from the political circle, allowing them to do what they did, it wouldn't have exploded to where it is now. And that is true, because leadership determines what the followership does. Good. Fine and good. Even those who are attributing so many things to Ali Sharif, I look at Ali Sharif as saint compared to some people who came after him. Because though Ali Sharif negotiated with a religious group, which was at dead not Boko Haram, they were a religious group to assist him wrestle power. It was later they became Boko Haram. But how did they become Boko Haram? The same Ali Sharif went after them when they insisted on Sharia. He didn't want to be Sharia compliant at the time. So to that extent, I tell some people, I don't see Ali Sharif as Malimadu Sharif as the man who started this thing. Yes, he negotiated with these people to assist him to wrestle power, which they did. But he refused to implement Sharia. All the same, he had his own militant group, but nearly all governors also have theirs to ensure that they win election. So, sir, without the constitutional backing which we had in 1999 Constitution, many of these governors in the North will not declare Sharia. That is the truth. Because they believe now with Sharia, rather than the penal code in the Constitution, they can declare Sharia in their states, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can go to court, they will tell you Sharia is in the Constitution, and they have the right to practice their religion. Those then who went further to say, yes, in this system, we are allowed to persecute those who don't adhere to Islamic norms, and Christians don't. These things wouldn't be there, sir. So let's be plain and straight. We have reached a stage in this country where you cannot stop these people from practicing their religion. And it has been started in the Constitution. Sharia is there in the Constitution. 73 mentions. You can go and cross-check. There's no mention of Christianity or anything to say that you exist in the first place in the Constitution. None. You can go check people who have gone through the Constitution. So the issue is, how do we navigate away from this source of problem? Because it is already there. It is in the Constitution. And governors who have introduced Sharia, Hizbah, etc., will say that Sharia is in the Constitution and you cannot do anything about it because they are Nigerians. How do we navigate out of that? That is the question.
I'm sure our viewers will struggle, especially northern Muslims, will struggle to agree with you. Because I'll go back to the issue of bad governance, failure of leadership, according to Dr. Akim Babamed, according to pretty much everybody I've sat with. And I've been on this for years now. Sir, 20 million plus children out of school on the streets. You see them everywhere in the north. Children of school going age on the streets.
Yes.
Those are the ready supply, the recruitment source for all these bandits, terrorists, kidnappers, insurgents, name it. Do you agree, sir?
I agree.
There's no primary health care in anywhere, any villages, no primary health care in almost all the places. Look at primary schools. So poverty, sir, look at poverty. Poverty in the north is like 10 times worse than the rest of Nigeria. I could go on, reading out these horrific statistics. So I go back to it. Is it fair to just narrow down on the issue of Sharia as the lone causative factor for all these problems?
Thank you. The practice of taking children, handing them over to malams or to these mullahs to train, to travel
Rather than taking them to school.
Listen, to travel with them, blah, blah, is still part of the religious practice. You don't go to my village, you will not see a beggar on the street with a ball in his hand. It's shameful in my tradition to even have someone who is physically challenged, whether even mentally, to see him on the street begging. Because in my tradition, it's a taboo. You keep your weak and feed them till they die. So, it is the practice in northern Muslim areas, and it is as mentioned, and as we agreed, that yes, bad governance has something to do about it. However, let me put it to you. The politicians depend on these clerics for support. They support a person to become a governor. When they get to the seat, how many of them have the balls to now say, you cannot carry children around and travel with them begging here and then? How many of them? So in that respect, we'll say, yes, bad governance. Then another thing, people are producing children who they cannot support. You and if, I don't know whether you are Christian or Muslim, you are confined to have one wife. And how many children you can take care of? In Islam, you can have up to 4 wives. According to the rule, if you can take care of them equitably. Nobody cares about equitably. Produce children, you cannot take care of them, hand them over to the malam, and the malam travels out, they learn menial works, go around Abuja, who are the nail cutters, who are the cobblers. It's all this kind of children. Many of them have gone to school, many of them have not. Now, an alternative education has not been provided. Jonathan tried to establish Al-Majiri system schools. Go to those schools. Are they being occupied by Al-Majiris? You will find out Al-Majiris are not there. So, sir, it is not just government. Jonathan tried, but the system resisted. The system resisted. So, if these boys are used as cannon fodder for insurgency, It is not just government. It is the system.
Dr. Bitrus, let's make progress. We all witnessed the horrific atrocities in Mango local government, Boko's local government, Bakinladi local government, where entire villages or communities were wiped out.
Yes.
In what many have described as genocidal, including yourself.
Yes.
Yet, we have evidence that those villagers alerted security forces that this was coming, these people are coming.
That's correct.
And yet, security forces, conveniently did not show up before, and while those atrocities were being perpetrated, they didn't show up until after the entire place was decimated. Then they showed, what's going on, sir? How do you explain this?
There's complicity within the security forces. Simple. No, I mean, nothing other than that. You see, the people who sponsors and who sponsored this thing when it started know where they were, the level things have reached, to the extent that they can do something and even protect the aggressors. When General T.Y. said that they are colluding, you remember that there was evidence. Because insurgents who were killed, their telephones were probed, and they were in contact with security officers while they were operating. That is to show we have accomplices within the security forces. And that is why when people are being attacked, some instruction will come from above, whoever it would be, to ensure that these people receive the worst kind of treatment before the security forces would come. That is one. Two, even after the attack, while lamenting, rather than coming to assist in some cases, we have lots of records, the security forces would come if any of their children decides to even fight back, they will be arrested. That is, the victim is now being victimized. This has happened over and over again. So the issue is, the system is already rotten. And thank God, the present government, having received the pressure from the US, has allowed the Americans to assist and collaborate with our government to ensure that this thing is halted. But the major work is for you and I to do the needful, rather than chickening out and pretend. Because sometimes when I hear people who know, who even suffered genocidal attacks in the area, saying that there is no genocide, I do laugh. There is genocidal attacks on Christian communities to displace them. In the northwest, there is genocidal attack against Muslim houses, indigenous houses. The jihad of which started in 1804, took over power. That is traditional institutions. But the land remained in the hands of the Hausas. Today the Hausas are also being killed and dispossessed of their land. So it has become multifaceted, but all the same. You look at the history, whether at how Islam started, it is the same trend, sir. It has not changed. So with Sharia, whether we like it or not, that's what will continue to happen, unless it is crushed. Negotiation will not work. Anybody who say non-kinetic, that is the funny terminology I've heard. Somebody who think that, one, if he kills, and if he dies trying to kill for his faith, he's going above to meet some beautiful facilities beyond what he gets here. It's here, it's in the mind. You can't change him through some non-kinetic something. He is out there to either kill or be killed. If somebody would voluntarily go and blow himself up just because he feels he's going to be rewarded, how do you solve the problem through some non-kinetic approach? So the issue is, this thing will not stop unless it is crushed.